Bună dimineața, vă mulțumesc foarte, foarte mult pentru că ați venit și sunteți iarăși alături de noi. Este a treia zi din acest forum minunat, cu un pic de tradiție deja în spate. Poate cândva vom deveni în viitorul apropiat un hub de mediu pentru Europa de Est. De fapt, e visul multora dintre cei care ne aflăm aici să creștem perspectiva acestui forum al orașelor verzi și să devenim un centru pentru ceea ce înseamnă politici de mediu, politici care să aducă mai aproape oamenii de economie, de mediu și împreună să reușim să facem foarte multe lucruri bune împreună. Astăzi avem onorați invitați care ne vor spune, de fapt, care este munca lor dusă în relația cu comunitățile, cu guvernele din țările în care provin și cum au reușit ei de-a lungul timpului să creeze politici, punând presiune pe decidenții politici, pe diferiți stakeholderi și să fie un exemplu pentru noi. Din fericire, sunt oameni care creează în jurul lor emulații care la rândul lor generează niște obiective clare pentru politicieni. Asta înseamnă că împreună cu cetățenii din jurul nostru, împreună cu ceilalți stakeholder, putem merge mai departe și putem avea o amprentă de carbon din ce în ce mai mică, putem avea o relație normală, naturală cu natura. Îl voi introduce de asemenea pe cel care ne va vorbi foarte mult astăzi despre cum putem să mișcăm comunitățile, pe domnul Frédéric, care ne va spune ce a făcut, ce avem de făcut și cum reușește împreună cu alte comunități din alte țări, în proiecte internaționale, să miște oameni, să miște stakeholders, să miște întregi comunități care vor deveni în relația cu natura mult mai eficiente, cu o amprentă mult mai mică și cu un viitor mai mare. Frédéric?
Mulțumesc foarte mult. Bună dimineața. I am going to speak in English, so for those who need to put some headsets, please do so. So I'm very pleased to be in Brașov and to have those colleagues with me today on stage to talk to you about what we are doing to engage and to support cities to transition towards climate neutrality across and beyond Europe. We are a European network of local authorities which are trying to make their cities future-proof. And in the recent years, mayors have been the firefighters of multiple crises. There was a financial crisis, there is a climate crisis that I guess no one is criticizing anymore now and recognizing, at least they are all recognizing it. There was, of course, a sanitary crisis that impacted everyone. And now we are entering into an energy crisis. And quite often, the mayors, local authorities, they have to deal with the problems. So back in 2019, we decided to launch a project that we call Tomorrow, that was inspired by a movie called in French Demain, where they were showcasing local solutions, how citizens could take measures to drive a transition towards a better, more sustainable future. We selected some cities from our network which were already advanced, and we decided, with the support of a research institute called Drift, to bring them, to support them into engaging their citizens, their local stakeholders into this transition. So these are the list of partners we've been engaging. 6 very different cities from different countries. There is our host, Brașov. We also have the metropolis of Brest in France. We have Dublin, so the capital city of Ireland. Mouscron, which is a small town in Belgium. We have Niš in Serbia. And finally, Valencia, a big city in Spain. Very diverse cities from different countries. And our intention, again, as a network of cities, was to have a diversity of circumstances in order to develop methodological tools, case studies, good practices that we can then share with other cities through our network, Energy Cities, and also through the Covenant of Mayors, which is an EU initiative which is asking cities to, supporting them to go towards climate neutrality. So that's this project. Of course, we've been impacted by the COVID, but our pilot cities have done a lot. And today, actually, they're going to tell you more about what they've been implementing. So what is the crew of tomorrow, today on stage? Unfortunately, we don't have all our pilot cities, but I will quickly introduce them. My colleague Stéphane, who is also, and will moderate the panel later, working for Energy Cities. Giorgia, Silvestri working for Drift Research Institute. Magali, coming from the city of Mouscron. Alejandro from Valencia. Bojan from Niš. And you probably already know the key colleagues of the city of Brașov, COLIBAN, the mayor, Camelia Ratza and Lea from the agency. So, and without further ado, and to, let's say, kick off this discussion on what cities can do to drive the transition and solve, again, those crises, and the next one to come with the winter, I will give the floor to the mayor of Brașov, COLIBAN, for explaining in some words what is the vision and what Brașov is doing to drive towards a better future. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I will talk English with due respect to our audience, which is international, and also to our guests here. I won't be very long in my speech. I just have to point out a few important contextual things. First of all, tomorrow is a project that started 3 years ago, and it will be soon come to an end. This November. It's a project when we are partners of cities in Europe, and partners of cities with similar ambitions and similar goals. And it's a project that's coordinated by Energy Cities, which is a network counting more than 1,000 cities worldwide. So a very big network, a very relevant network, and also on a national level, I'm proud to say Brașov has the presidency of Energy Cities Romania, and this network was developed through the ambition and the help of our energy manager, which is ABMEE, the association that Camelia and Lea are representing today and also in the project. So there is a lot of discussion at political level about energy efficiency, but when it comes to putting the words into facts, to action, we need champions. And we are very proud to have these champions in the person of these two lovely ladies that have been pushing Brașov towards a real and a realistic climate action plan and durable energy plan. So this is the most important outcome for us in terms of actions that we take from this project. We are in the process of updating our strategies for climate change and for energy efficiency. And this comes in a very important moment worldwide, a moment where all local administration rethink their approach to consumption, to energy efficiency, to finding more renewable energy sources. Through the help and through the ambition of ABMEE, we managed last year to pioneer in the spectrum of local administration to be the first city to have 100% renewable energy for public sources. Sometimes we have blackouts, apparently. Kidding. This is the 15% savings that we committed to. So we will have today a good opportunity to discuss about our roadmap, as we were coming in front of you last year, the first edition of Green Cities Forum, and committing, I've signed the papers for the Fit for 55 and our plan for carbon neutrality. Now it's a very good moment, it's a very good occasion to come with an update on our roadmap, where we are, where we stand, what were the key projects and the key steps from last year to this one. So I'm very happy to be part of these discussions. Thank you, Frédéric and Energy Cities for taking us on board in this wonderful project. This is just a first step on having an updated roadmap, a realistic plan for addressing the climate change and durable, sustainable energy at local level here in Brașov. And I put all my faith in this to be as a guideline for the future and for our development. Thank you, and welcome to Brașov to all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Before because I'm sure you're all impatient to hear about what our pilot cities have been doing those last years to drive this transition, I'm going to invite Giorgia, from our research institute, DRIFT, who this institute has been for long years analyzing, working with cities and local stakeholders to define methodology to support them into those road mapping processes and also in the way of engaging local stakeholders into the transition. Through the project, DRIFT has been analyzing those pilot cities and other ones to define methodology. We also have in the project, and we will make this available in the coming weeks, policy recommendations to support local politicians and also experts in the different cities to start the process or to accelerate the process they've already started. But the floor to Giorgia before then passing to all the colleagues for their good practices in the cities. Giorgia.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks a lot for welcoming us in Brașov. And so I would like to just shortly introduce you to these methodological guidelines that supported the tomorrow cities in developing their sustainability strategy, what we call this transition roadmap towards climate neutrality. And of course, these steps are meant not to be like copy-paste, but they need to really be tailored to the local context, to the local needs, and also all the interests at the local level. So you will hear from the different members of the different cities how they really did that. So their example is really what is important. But I just want to mention that one of the most important steps is really at the beginning to really understand at a deeper level the system, the context, and to also really identify what are opportunities for change, but also challenges. And this is very important as a starting point for really developing the strategy. And then from there is also a starting point to identify also the different local actors that can be engaged actively in the city, and also really looking at their diversity. So looking at the different different societal domains and different actors in the city. And from there, we supported the city to identify also what will be activities that they would implement. So maybe you can go to the next slide. Yeah, this is just like a graph of how the different steps. But here, yeah, you have all the different steps. So we supported the city to identify what activities would really meant for them, and then to implement them and also use different methodologies that would fit with their local context again. And another important step is really to translate these activities in a transition, what we call transition roadmap, but also other cities, they call it a sustainability strategy, sustainability action plan. And in the case of tomorrow, this has been done in a very, in a collaboration with all the local stakeholders. So with really the active engagement of the different stakeholders there. And this has been developed like a transition roadmap document that then is going to be part of the municipality. So that is going to be like really part of the governance at the local level. And then another step, the last step that is very important, is also to really think and reflect how to really maintain these activities over time and to really make sure that the roadmap is implemented over time and in the future. So I don't want to go too long. I really want to give the word to the cities for really sharing more in practice how they really did this. Thank you.
Thank you, Giorgia. Buonasera. My name is Stéphane. I'm a colleague of Fred. And we've been in charge of coordinating this whole work during the almost 3 years of the project, now 3 years actually. What makes those European projects very interesting are really that we have the possibility to exchange between very different people coming from very different regions with very different challenges or context on the ground. And we thought we can share that with you today using the opportunity of the forum here in Brașov. I would like to our colleagues to a bit share with you their experiences. So we'll start a bit with more general aspect of the project, which was really about defining what is a climate neutral, what is a fossil fuel free or whatever city for the people. And of course, this is a task which is quite difficult because actually everyone can have its own interpretation. But part of the work of the project was to try to find in each city what is a bit the common approach, the common view on that. So I'd like to start with you, Magali. So in the end, what was the vision that was developed in your city? And maybe you can also share what were the main achievements of the project so far. Magali is going to speak in French, so unless you are fluent in French, you might want to switch to the French translation.
Merci Stéphane. Donc en fait, moi je viens d'une ville de 60 000 habitants en Belgique, donc une petite ville comme l'a dit tout à l'heure Frédéric. Donc au niveau des actions par rapport à la feuille de route, eh bien nous avons signé la Convention des maires en 2012 avec un premier plan d'action énergie durable, avec les objectifs de 20% de réduction de CO2, une augmentation du recours aux énergies renouvelables et 20% d'économie d'énergie en fait. Et nous avons revu ce plan en 2018 avec des objectifs 2030 de moins 40%, avec en plus tout ce qui est implication au niveau atténuation climat. Donc maintenant nous sommes dans la réflexion du PAEDC, donc le plan d'action énergie durable avec l'adaptation climat. Et grâce à Tomorrow, eh bien, nous essayons de mettre en place des actions pour aller encore plus loin dans cette réflexion vers un objectif de moins 85% des émissions de CO2 en 2050. Donc c'est la réflexion dans le cadre du projet Tomorrow. À cet effet, eh bien, on se rend compte qu'en tant que commune, moi je suis responsable du service énergie de la commune pour laquelle je travaille, on se rend compte qu'en termes de commune, même si on met en place toutes les actions qui ont été imaginées, donc c'est-à-dire la mobilité, le recours aux énergies renouvelables, le photovoltaïque, la rénovation énergétique, eh bien, en interne, on se rend compte que ce n'est que 2 à 3% de l'objectif global que nous pourrions réaliser au sein de la commune. commune. Donc à cet effet, on se dit on doit être exemplaire par rapport à nos citoyens. Donc c'est la raison pour laquelle on a une grosse réflexion, je dirais, sur la rénovation des bâtiments énergétiques et on met en place justement un one-stop shop pour nos citoyens, pour les aider, les sensibiliser à rénover leur logement, puisque chez nous, il y a moins de 1% des logements qui sont rénovés chaque année. Et donc l'idée, c'est de multiplier par 3 ce taux de rénovation. Donc on leur offre les audits énergétiques obligatoires pour avoir accès aux primes régionales. On les aide à analyser les devis des professionnels. On les aide dans le parcours de rénovation. Donc on montre l'exemple et bien entendu, donc grâce au projet Tomorrow, on est à l'affût et à la recherche d'idées via d'autres pays, d'autres villes, d'autres partenaires. Et donc c'est le but qu'on s'est donné en tout cas pour 2050.
Thank you, Magali. Thank you also for underlying that the city has at the same time a huge role and a minor role in the sense that the city administration itself cannot do everything and really needs to work with all the stakeholders, the citizens, and everything that makes the city a city. Alejandro. Sorry, just one thing before you go. We will have a short time at the end of the panel to share the question of the audience, but you can already also start, and it's been already starting, ask specific questions on WhatsApp, and we try to summarize them in the end.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Steph. Good morning, everyone. Bună seara. So in Valencia, the vision that we had for our city, we knew that we wanted to transform completely the city that we had, and we still have in a way. So we had the different visions. Actually, we call it them like that, like the vision of the city that we want in the future, that were actually developed already in a participatory way by the municipality. So we knew that we wanted a sustainable Valencia, a healthy Valencia, a prosperous Valencia, a Mediterranean Valencia, a creative Valencia, and also an inclusive and socially inclusive city. And we have always known that in order to achieve this, to achieve really a climate neutral city and a sustainable city, we need to transform completely the city that exists now, not only on the energy domain, but also on mobility, waste management, like the industry and economic sectors, and in general the culture and the social citizens' habits of the city. So that was what we also started to do in the project of Tomorrow. Our main achievements so far, well, the most practical one is that we have been able to develop our energy transition strategy, which was what was planned, and we are very proud to have now this energy transition strategy, long-term strategy with the projects, because we were quite focused on projects that can transform the city. That is going to be approved by the City Council probably this month of September. But in a way that was only an excuse, like something that allowed us to do these whole collaborative processes, working groups, citizens engagement and things like that during the whole process. So while we were developing this strategy and we are defining the projects that are needed in the city, we created a lot of internal within the municipality working groups, coordination teams and things like that to try to be cross-sectoral among all the departments, and also outside of the municipality working groups. So to give just some examples, within the municipality there was a working team that was created. It is coordinated by the Department of Climate Emergency and Energy Transition of the municipality, which is in charge of all the climate change affairs. And it coordinates more than 17, I think it's 17 or 18 departments of the municipality that are somehow involved in implementing actions that have an impact on mitigating and adapting to climate change. and that has changed, but I don't have the time to go into the details, but it has really changed also the governance structures within the city. And then in the outside part, we are also very proud that we created already 2 years ago the Energy Transition Roundtable. And the Energy Transition Roundtable is a working group with 22 entities coming from what we call the 5 elixirs of the city, so public administration, private companies, academia, civil society, and the media and journalists. And we have been working with this Energy Transition Roundtable for 2 years already, developing together and co-defining together this strategy, these projects, even communication actions. We try to co-define with them a lot of the things that we do to have a very comprehensive and powerful approach. So that's it, and I think that that's also, these kind of initiatives have allowed us to now being selected as one of the 100 climate neutral and smart cities on the European mission. We are also a finalist city for the Green Capital Award that will be selected by the end of October. We have also applied to be the European Capital of Innovation recently. So we are very proud of all this, and I think that the Tomorrow project really gave us the push and the tools and the motivation to try to be ahead of this. So yeah, and that's the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Yeah, it's nice to see that the road mapping process of Tomorrow was able to also be embedded in a much bigger approach in your city. Bojan, in the city of Niš.
Good morning, everybody. I'm coming from the city of Niš, that is the 3rd largest city in Serbia, around 260,000 inhabitants. So I think that since it is the part of some Eastern European part of the continent, I would say that it should have much similarities with our hosting city of Brașov. Our project really learned all of us that it doesn't have to be like that, that when you expect to have some similarities, there are not so much, while some similarities with other cities are arising, and we can connect between ourselves in different aspects. About the city of Niš and our visioning, we still have not finished under this project our process of the citizens' engagement, but we expect that and we hope that we will, together with our citizens, somehow conclude that we should aim for the climate neutrality goal for 2050. We have a history of very successful preparation of strategic documents, because we are the first city in Serbia to sign Covenant of Mayors, the first to prepare SEAP with a goal of 21% reduction of CO2 emissions until 2020. So now we are similar with Mouscron, as Magali already said, similar goals that Mouscron set out. For 2030, we also have a goal for a reduction of 40%, and we also have a history of including citizens in decision-making process regarding energy, and also in preparing strategic documents. What is maybe the biggest success up to now during this process of Tomorrow project, I would say that setting up the transition team with around 10 to 15 members from different institutions and organizations on the local level really showed the big impact, and they really showed enthusiasm for being the part of this process. And the other success, I would say, is really that we had really so much chance to learn from other cities, and that we can transpose what we learned in our environment and really learn from those experiences and try to somehow not copy, but really to somehow use that experience and change it to be more more into our aspects, local aspects that are needed for successful transition process. So yeah, that would be for the first answer. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Bojan. And yes, we were also very happy to have have the possibility, even through a EU project, also to involve non-EU countries, which make it even more diverse. So now, I mean, you know probably more about the Brașov city already, but it would be interesting to know from your side how you've been working into this project.
Ok. În primul rând, bună dimineața tuturor. Ne bucurăm ca proiectul nostru să fie la a doua ediție. A fost partener cu municipiul Brașov și la prima ediție și credem că pe bună dreptate, pentru că municipiul nostru are foarte multă activitate în acest domeniu și poate este unul din comunitățile locale din România care lucrează de mult timp în crearea conceptului, membru în Energy Cities și alături de comunitățile din Europa lucrează pe acest drum. Ce am făcut noi în ultimul timp, ce am făcut de la angajamentul municipiului de anul trecut de a atinge 55% targetul pentru 2030 și lucrul pentru neutralitate climatică. În această perioadă am lucrat foarte strâns cu specialiștii, am avut o echipă de tranziție în care am beneficiat de suportul tuturor actorilor locali, nu cei din administrație, cei din comunitatea noastră care au putut să participe cu expertiză. Am lucrat pentru crearea conceptului de eficiență energetică în ținte mult mai ambițioase cu administrația locală, cu departamentele din administrația locală, pentru a pregăti documentații tehnice foarte ambițioase, realiste, astfel încât clădirile publice și administrative să fie reabilitate într-o performanță ridicată, iar noi, bineînțeles, monitorizăm toate consumurile și să avem o reducere a emisiilor cât mai mare pentru a atinge targetul promis. Ne dorim o comunitate care să își dezvolte strategia pe proiecte realiste. Am finalizat monitorizarea, am calculat cu specialiștii potențialul de instalare al echipamentelor fotovoltaice pe toate clădirile publice. Sperăm ca administrația, după ce finalizăm planul și foaia de parcurs, să meargă pe acest drum. De asemenea, am realizat un studiu de reducere a emisiilor cu Universitatea Transilvania din Brașov în partea de mobilitate, dar cel mai important lucru este sau cel mai mare consum și cea mai mare provocare este în partea de clădiri publice, clădiri private. Acolo este potențialul și acolo am lucrat împreună cu departamentele administrației pentru pregătirea auditurilor energetice într-o performanță ridicată, astfel încât, desigur, procentul nu este foarte mare al blocurilor de locuințe pe care administrația locală le va reabilita prin PNRR, dar demonstrăm că se poate. Foaia de parcurs este, spunem noi în acest moment, este conturată. Sperăm că aceste eforturi care le-au făcut toți specialiștii de a crea o foaie de parcurs și proiecte realiste să ajute administrația locală, mai ales în această perioadă critică, în care noi vom furniza toate datele de consum, iar administrația locală are baza pentru luarea deciziilor cele mai corecte și cele care ne aduc cea mai mare economie de energie în performanță ridicată a clădirilor și cele mai multe emisii de CO2. Sperăm într-un planul acesta să treacă prin Consiliul Local, să fie în analiză, să fie completat, observații și după aceea foaia de parcurs 2050 să fie un document puternic pentru administrația locală, pentru decizie, pentru factorul de decizie. Pentru că au fost făcute multe strategii, dar atâta timp cât nu este legată o strategie de o bază de consumuri reală, nu date statistice, este greu să mergi mai departe cu proiecte punctuale. Sperăm să identificăm fondurile financiare, să avem în scurt timp, credem noi că ar fi o măsură pe termen scurt de impulsionare a producției de energie din surse regenerabile, vorbim de energie electrică, și în ultima perioadă administrația a mers mai departe și a identificat un potențial, construirea unui potențial, unui câmp de celule fotovoltaice pentru a compensa o parte din energia electrică. Sperăm să se realizeze. Noi suntem pregătiți, bazele de date sunt pregătite, proiectele sunt evaluate și măsurate, astfel încât sperăm să avem succes și să mergem înainte la fel de ambițios cum am fost până acum și să demonstrăm că se poate. E cel mai important lucru, să demonstrăm autorităților locale și cetățenilor că lucrând împreună putem să avem rezultate foarte bune. Mulțumesc!
Mulțumesc! Yes, so when we studied this project, I mean, we knew that would be a very ambitious project. I mean, this covered almost everything in the city when we try to think about the future low energy cities, for example. And now I would like to know a bit from your side what's now you've been working 3 years on that. Like to know from you what were the most difficult things, what were the biggest challenges, and also now what are the next steps for the future, because this project was really about preparing actually the future. So I'd like to know from our colleagues your view on that. Magali, please.
Oui, eh bien, en fait, maintenant, le plus grand challenge pour l'avenir, c'est parvenir à continuer à mobiliser l'équipe de transition qui a été mise en place avec les différents services communaux, et c'est surtout aussi continuer à mobiliser les politiciens, lier la communication qui vient de l'administration, donc la communication politique et technique avec les citoyens, donc continuer à les impliquer et surtout communiquer d'une façon assez facile, compréhensible pour tous. C'est la raison pour laquelle on essaye de lier chaque action, chaque projet aux 17 objectifs de développement durable qui existent actuellement, afin justement que les citoyens s'approprient le projet, les actions, et communiquent également vers l'administration pour nous donner des idées afin qu'on puisse les suivre vers l'objectif qu'on s'est imposé, je dirais. Donc c'est notre plus grand challenge, essayer de continuer à mobiliser les équipes en fait.
Merci Magali. Alejandro, how does it look like in Valencia?
Okay, so our main challenges and related to the next steps too. So I think it's basically to be able to deliver, so be able to implement what we need to implement. So as I said, we were selected as one of the 100 climate neutral cities, which means that we have committed to be climate neutral in 2030, together with 99 other cities of Europe, and which is, of course, a huge commitment to make. And the next step that we need to do is to develop what is called the Climate City Contract. And the Climate City Contract, specifically the 7 Spanish cities that were selected, have promised or have committed to deliver this Climate City Contract by December of this year, so in less than 3 months or in 3 months. And this Climate City Contract is basically a document in which we have to say how we are going to achieve to be climate neutral in 2030, and it should be signed and approved by the municipality, but also by the national government and by the European Commission. So all the levels, and in our case, we're going to involve also the regional government. So all the levels of the administration and decision makers are involved, saying that they want Valencia to be climate neutral and all the different things that need to be done in order to achieve that. So developing this climate city contract, I think, is going to be a huge challenge. And in fact, I think it's a good opportunity to also put on a paper actually what is needed for Valencia to be climate neutral city and for the other 99 cities to be climate neutral, because then we will realize that it's something impossible to do with just business as usual. So it's impossible to be climate neutral in 8 years if we talk only about renovating buildings, buying electric vehicles and putting PV panels. That needs to be done, but there are a lot of transformations in our society, in our economic models, in our production models, consumption, things like that, that need to be taken into consideration if we really take this seriously. And I think this is a very good opportunity to put that on a paper with the European Commission, with the Spanish government, with the region, and with the city, so everyone realizes that this needs to be done. So we hope we can do that in 3 months. But then the biggest challenge will be in January, how to implement that. So even if we are able to have this climate city contract as we should, then in January we need to work in a way that hasn't been done before, with the ambition and the and to be fast and ambitious. So for that, we are very concerned about how to go from the participatory processes of engaging citizens, engaging stakeholders, working groups that we have created to co-define actions and to co-define strategies, to working groups and processes that allow us to co-implement things. So going from the co-definition to the co-implementation. Because if not, it's not going to work. So we need really to innovate on that, because we cannot expect public administration to just bring the money, launch public tendering processes, and then private companies will do things. We need really to change and to innovate on how to co-implement projects and transformations that are that have never been seen before. So I think those are the challenges now. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, this is a moment to be creative. Bojan, please.
Well, there were a few challenges during this process. I would say that a few of them are not really strictly connected to engagement process and really what is our main goal, and they are connected to administration problems because Serbia is not part of EU family, and so our administration is still not very prepared to implement some European project. The other one is COVID, of course, and all the activities that we have planned to implement. I think that goes for all of our partner cities. We had to postpone, to organize it in the other way, and it was very difficult to implement project where you don't, where you need to have citizens' engagement, but you have practically 1.5 years or 2 years that you are somehow restricted to only online communication. The third, maybe the most important challenge would be that the political support was something that we were struggling along the way. Political support is, in general, is difficult to get in Serbia for these kinds of processes, because I think that our politicians still don't really recognize the importance of having citizens on the same side and co-creating visions and strategies. That is changing, of course, but it was also one additional aspect that we had elections during this process, and since the new government was established, it was even harder to have the process of getting politicians on board 2 times with the old team and then the new one. So that would be maybe something that is a bit different than other cities. I know that practically city of Brașov could tell a completely different story than this one concerning political support, and I would say the others also. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for Bojan for sharing this. Indeed, this is what you were mentioning about the political will is something that we notice in all the cities, members of energy cities, that without local leaders that really get ahead, it's very difficult to have things moving. Please.
Constat că avem aceleași provocări. Să transpunem în practică un document tehnic care are nevoie de vizibilitate, de suportul cetățenilor, al specialiștilor și mai ales de suportul politic, bineînțeles, pentru că acest proces pe care ne-l dorim cu toții este un proces de durată, este un proces care nu tot timpul trebuie să implementeze măsuri foarte populare, dar rezultatul cu siguranță în viitor va fi benefic pentru societate, dar da, sunt provocări majore în modul de înțelegere și cred că provocarea cea mai mare este modul în care transmitem conceptele și explicăm partea tehnică în societate și către cetățeni. Așa cum spuneam, o mare parte a consumului de energie în comunitate nu este la administrație. Administrația, bineînțeles, trebuie să facă tot ce ține de ea, să dezvolte politici în suport pentru populație, dar provocarea este cum atragem societatea și experții alături de administrație ca să facem posibilă această transformare. Așa cum spuneau colegii noștri, sunt aceleași provocări în termen de utilizare eficientă a energiei, de tehnologii, de implementare și de înțelegerea conceptelor. Faptul că trăim în această perioadă această provocare care este sensibilă în perioada următoare, dar ne poate da șansa să înțelegem mai bine procesul și să-l susținem în viitor. Cred că lucrul administrație, specialiști și populație poate să ducă la succesul implementării foii noastre de parcurs ambițioase pe care ne-o dorim și să demonstrăm pe termen scurt că fiecare măsură aduce ceva bun și aduce o reducere în emisii și căpătăm și încredere văzând că se poate.
If I may add something, and I'll take the chance to do it in Romanian because it's also a message to the citizens. Cred că implicarea cetățenilor este foarte importantă, este una dintre temele acestui proiect. Pe de altă parte, o provocare mare va fi să rămânem asumați și să rămânem neclintiți de pe acest drum, pentru că ultimele 6 luni cel puțin, cu tot ceea ce înseamnă războiul, cu tot ceea ce înseamnă criza energetică pe care acest război o provoacă, poate să ne facă să gândim că avem nevoie de alte măsuri sau să facem 2 pași înapoi în calea ambiției. Ori acestea sunt de fapt adevăratele amenințări. Ieri l-am auzit pe Gerrit Presch din partea World Health Innovation Summit vorbind despre climate change, despre schimbările climatice ca fiind principala amenințare la adresa sănătății globale la ora actuală. Dincolo de război, care cu toții ne dorim să se încheie cât mai repede, suntem datori să aplicăm aceste planuri și să rămânem coerenți pe acest drum, indiferent de celelalte provocări. Am văzut administrații locale care se gândesc la a reveni la combustibili fosili, la cărbune și așa mai departe. Cred că atâta timp cât avem soluții și cât avem ambiția să găsim soluții, atâta timp cât avem fonduri și există fonduri europene disponibile pentru a impulsiona această tranziție, este foarte important să rămânem pe acest drum neclintit și să mergem mai departe spre calea aceasta a tranziției spre sustenabilitate. Ori în acest demers e foarte important să explicăm de la nivel politic și administrativ, să explicăm corect cetățenilor care sunt opțiunile și care sunt urmările acțiunilor noastre și să le dăm încredere că aceasta este calea corectă de a continua și calea viitorului. Pentru că la final este și un element de mândrie, iar partea de leadership în tot acest proces revine în mod covârșitor administrațiilor locale. Tranziția către energie durabilă se face de la comunități, de la cele mai mici comunități până la cele mai mari. Și acesta este mesajul meu în acest context și mă bucur că foarte mulți dintre dumneavoastră, dintre cei din țară, susțineți acest demers, pentru că de asta avem nevoie. Avem nevoie de leadership și fiecare dintre noi putem fi lideri în acest proces al schimbării.
Mulțumesc. Yeah, now we want now to discuss what you were just mentioning, how the citizen can take part of this process, and the project was also very focused on how to engage the citizen, engage local stakeholders in this process of looking ahead and planning how the city could change and how we could achieve together as a member of a city community to the energy transition. And also this is the focus of this conference over the 3 days. That's and therefore we would like also our colleagues to mention how you've been involving the citizens and local stakeholders, and maybe if you can also tell us a few examples of what were the most encouraging or things that you've been doing on this field. So Magali in Belgium.
Oui, donc en fait, impliquer les citoyens, mais ce n'est pas facile parce que ce n'est pas leur priorité. La transition n'est pas la priorité des citoyens. Nous les invitons via voie de presse à nous faire part de leurs idées pour un Mouscron plus durable. Nous les invitons également via les réseaux sociaux. Donc, certains nous donnent des idées. Donc, une fois que les idées sont là, eh bien, on les reçoit, on les accueille, on discute et on leur met à disposition des budgets participatifs pour développer justement le projet. Quelques groupes de travail sont déjà en place, donc sur différents sujets. Hein. Ça, c'est l'implantation de forêts urbaines, c'est l'aménagement des îlots de chaleur, enfin des choses comme ça. Et donc beaucoup de citoyens se réunissent en association de fait pour justement s'impliquer davantage dans les projets. Nous mettons chaque année en place un forum d'échange. Le prochain aura lieu la semaine prochaine. Un forum d'échange également où on les aide à nous communiquer justement leurs idées. On implique les enfants, les jeunes. On leur a demandé ici dernièrement de réaliser, de dessiner leur Mouscron du futur. Et donc ces dessins serviront à la publication de la feuille de route qui aura lieu ici en novembre par rapport à Tomorrow, via un calendrier avec également donc des gestes pour économiser l'énergie, des conseils et astuces, des recettes également pour économiser, pour réutiliser, je dirais, les denrées, je ne vais pas dire périssables, mais pour cuisiner de façon saine. Le but étant de les suivre, de continuer à les suivre et de les aider avec des budgets participatifs. Bien entendu, il faut que ça devienne également une priorité au niveau de la commune, de bien vouloir dégager ces budgets, ce qui n'est pas évident non plus. Donc voilà, on est à la pêche aux bonnes idées en fait.
Thank you very much. Alejandro, what did you do in Valencia?
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to focus on 2 initiatives we have done in Valencia, besides some working groups and participatory processes, events and things like that, but just to go into a bit more of the details of these 2 initiatives. So the first one is the Energy Office, and the Energy Office is a one-stop shop for the energy in the city of Valencia. So basically it is a place owned by the municipality, in which any citizen can go and ask questions regarding energy, and they receive free assessment and guidance. So basically they can ask, how can I save energy in my daily habits? How can I put PV panels and self-consume renewable energy in my home? How can I understand my electricity bill to understand really what I'm paying, and how can I change that, optimize that, or whatever? And it's really, we've been operating this energy office for 3 years already, and I believe it's a key element if we want to have an energy transition that is really inclusive and democratic, and that really is able to involve citizens, and most especially the vulnerable ones. So one of the things we do in the energy office too is we collaborate together with the social services and some social NGOs of the city in order to be able to reach and to help people in energy vulnerability or energy poverty, to help them in the mid and long term. So not only the social services pay for the bills to avoid the power cuts, but we also help them in the midterm, like really bringing this energy culture to them. And I believe this service of giving people the tools and the information and the guidance for them to be part of the energy transition is something that every city should have. We are actually opening 3 more energy offices this year, by the end of this year, to cover more neighborhoods of the city. And the second initiative, I will try to be quick, is the Alliance for the Climate Mission, which is also something that we have established in the framework of the climate mission, and this 100 cities mission. And basically we have created this, which is it's a website that will be launched also by this month, in which we have 4 layers of adhesion. So we try to bring this vision that the climate mission and the climate neutrality is a joint mission. So everyone needs to participate. We need everyone's efforts. We need to mobilize everyone's efforts, daily habits, even investments to achieve this mission. So we have the ambassador entities, which are like the big entities that really commit to climate change, and they sign specific actions and commitments to be part of it, because they are ambassadors and they want to show what they do. Then we have member entities, which is for small businesses, restaurants, associations in neighborhoods and things like that. They don't have the resources or the capabilities to do as much, but still they commit to a series of pledges to reduce their greenhouse gases emissions in their daily operations. Then we have citizens that can also join the alliance individually, also selecting a number of commitments. And then we have influencers, so people that are well known in the city, that are also loved by the citizens, and that can spread the word and talk about the mission, the alliance, and all these topics, because they want a better Valencia and a sustainable Valencia. So that's it.
Thank you, Alejandro, for sharing this. Bojan, what was the experience in Niš?
Yeah, well, regarding citizens' involvement, I would say that City of Niš is completely open, and only by the law you have the obligation for every strategic document when it's going to be adopted to have a public hearing, and you open that for the whole of the public. Then there is now a chance for citizens to suggest how the budget should look like for the next year. But not only what is legally obligation, city is organizing maybe once a month, or maybe even sometimes two times a month, the open days when the representatives of all parts of the administration are present, and citizens are invited to come to City Hall and to ask how to solve their individual problems. Also, our mayor with her team, they are organizing visits to the parts of the city, practically every day during the week, and in that way they are going on the spot to see how people live like, and trying to reach those who are not maybe eager to come to the city hall, but really are feeling much more better if they stay home and try to get. But when we're talking about energy and energy efficiency issues and the stable development of energy, we also have a history of involvement of the citizens. Recently, because we started with for the 2 years now, the program of co-financing of the energy efficiency measures in the residential sector. So we are organizing open days for the citizens to learn about what are their options in that cause. We also have officer for advisory services regarding energy efficiency in residential sector, so all the citizens and housing associations can address officer and ask for some opinion and advice. I'm very enthusiastic for this process that we are expecting under this project, and I really expect to have a very good impact from our citizens when visioning our 2050 transition process.
Thank you, Bojan. So how did you in Brașov make sure that citizens were a part of the energy transition?
Thank you, Steph. I'm going to speak in Romanian as I think this is a very strong message for the audience here. În partea Brașovului, spuneam anul trecut la prima ediție a Forumului Orașelor Verzi că atunci când vorbim despre sustenabilitate, despre neutralitate climatică, constatăm că toate orașele vorbim de fapt aceeași limbă. Am ajuns să constatăm acest lucru și în momentul în care am încercat să implicăm cetățenii în parcursul nostru pentru dezvoltarea foii de parcurs pentru 2050, pentru că a fost o mare surpriză să aflăm că cetățenii văd lucrurile din partea non-specialiștilor exact așa cum le vedeam și noi în momentul în care stabileam principiile pe baza cărora vrem să construim sustenabilitatea orașului nostru și neutralitatea climatică. Am pornit anul trecut prin consultări pe stradă. Am blocat o stradă în centrul Brașovului în cadrul Forumului Orașelor Verzi și am încercat să ascultăm vocea cetățenilor. Am invitat oameni din oraș, am stat de vorbă cu persoane în vârstă, cu familii, cu mame, cu bicicliști, cu șoferi. Am vrut să aflăm care este părerea lor cu privire la ce ar trebui să facă orașul pentru a deveni sustenabil până în anul 2030, pentru că era un termen la care ne puteam raporta mai ușor, dar mai mult decât atât, neștiind la acel moment prin ce vom trece anul acesta cu criza energetică, cu războiul care este la granița țării, am vrut totuși să vedem cum își doresc cetățenii să arate orașul lor în 2050. Cum văd că noi am putea trece peste aceste bariere, peste schimbările climatice, peste neajunsurile pe care le avem, în condițiile unei vieți normale, în condițiile unei calități înalte a tuturor serviciilor pe care cetățenii le primesc și la care au acces. Și a fost foarte interesant să vedem că își doresc transport curat, își doresc să renunțe la mașină, își doresc clădiri renovate, își doresc un consum suficient, energetic, dar bun, eficient. A fost foarte interesant să aflăm cât de multe măsuri așteaptă din partea administrației și cât de puțin sunt dispuși să schimbe în viața lor. Practic, acolo a fost, de fapt, marea noastră provocare, purtând aceste discuții cu cetățenii, să arătăm cât de ușor este să aștepți din partea unui actor principal să facă mari schimbări în viața ta, dar cât de puțin ești dispus să schimbi comoditatea cu care ești obișnuit și cât de multe măsuri de fapt ar trebui să întreprindem în viața de zi cu zi, pentru că este vorba despre un efort colectiv pentru a atinge neutralitatea climatică, pentru a avea un oraș care să fie la fel ca astăzi și în 2050. Moștenirea pe care practic o lăsăm copiilor noștri și generațiilor următoare, este nevoie să facem schimbări majore în viața de zi cu zi și pornește de la pași mici și ajunge la pași foarte mari. A fost minunat să facem acest exercițiu și l-am continuat și în echipa de tranziție. Ne-am pus problema ce poate face fiecare actor, astfel încât planurile de dezvoltare pe care le are să vizeze, de fapt, reducerea emisiilor de dioxid de carbon, pentru că țelul acesta nu este doar al administrației, este vorba de o mare familie care lucrează pentru o comunitate cu emisii scăzute. Mai mult decât atât, am încercat să mergem în focus grupuri. Am apelat la specialiști, la sociologi, am ales parte de cetățeni astfel încât structura municipiului Brașov să fie bine reprezentată, să avem niveluri de educație similare, venituri, structura femei-bărbați sau categorii de vârstă. Și am încercat să le cerem să fie primari pentru o oră, să decidă care sunt măsurile cele mai importante, pentru care ar aloca mai mulți bani, cum ar vedea ieșirea din acest impas în care factura la energie, pentru că aceea este poate elementul la care ne raportăm cel mai ușor, deși din perspectiva specialiștilor vorbim de lucruri mult mai amănunțite, cum ar face ca această factură să scadă, cum ar face ca impactul acțiunilor în termen de emisii să fie mult mai mic, cum ar vedea societatea crescând în direcția sustenabilității, pentru că încet, încet va trebui să devină o materie pe care copiii noștri o studiază, încet, încet va trebui să devină o obișnuință. Este destul de dificil de considerat că programa de astăzi se va putea schimba, aflam asta și din focus grupuri, dar cu toate astea ne dăm seama că dacă noi, adulții de astăzi, suntem dispuși să facem schimbări, copiii noștri vor trebui să fie pregătiți să păstreze această lume și să ducă acest parcurs mai departe. În urma focus grupurilor am reușit să conturăm o foaie de parcurs pentru anul 2050 în care, greu de crezut, dar non-specialiști ne-au dat măsuri foarte tehnice și foarte bine structurate, cu impact, cu rezultate și am suprapus-o peste foaia de parcurs pe care o dezvoltam în echipa noastră. În proporție de 90% măsurile erau cam aceleași, pentru că până la urmă orice om, dacă stă să se gândească în ce segmente ar putea interveni, nu are cum să ajungă la o altă concluzie. Și atunci, practic, inclusiv specialiștii și non-specialiștii, dacă ne așezăm la aceeași masă, dacă vorbim despre neutralitate climatică, despre o viață curată și sănătoasă, despre un Brașov verde, este imposibil să nu vorbim aceeași limbă. În afară de asta au mai fost sondaje pe care le-am făcut cu populația. Ne-a durut destul de tare să aflăm, de exemplu, că cetățenii nu ar fi dispuși să recurgă, de exemplu, la un sistem de încălzire centralizat și este lesne de înțeles de ce. Dar din perspectiva noastră a specialiștilor știm că, de exemplu, un sistem de încălzire centralizat ar reduce cu mult emisiile, ar fi o soluție mult mai facilă, un sistem eficient care să permită tuturor să aibă o încălzire de calitate, fără un pericol al centralelor de apartament, fără un grad atât de înalt de poluare. Dar asta nu ne-a demonstrat decât că trebuie să fim și mai motivați și să ne argumentăm foarte bine măsurile pe care le propunem în foaia de parcurs, pentru că fără cetățeni alături de noi nu vom putea ajunge la ținte atât de ambițioase. Administrația oricum va face ceea ce este legal, ceea ce este cerut de directivele europene, va accesa finanțările existente și va face tot ce va putea pentru a crește calitatea vieții, dar este vorba de un efort colectiv. Mulțumesc!
Thank you, Lea. So now you've had quite a good overview of what of our pilot cities here have been doing during those 3 years of the project. Now I'd like to know, we have received quite a few questions via WhatsApp. Maybe we can start with the audience if anyone has a direct question or want to comment on that. Otherwise, we can just, my colleague Fred was getting all the questions and he's going to try to sum up.
And thank you to the team who's been translating them, and some others are coming now. It's probably easier to put questions on a WhatsApp group than to take the floor. I hope they will inspire you for a second round. The first three questions are actually related to the energy crisis, and the mayor of Brașov mentioned it. So there was a question on how that has impacted EU policies, and also one related to national or local policies taken to restart coal-fired power station and things like that. So what is the reaction of the panel on that? Related to that, what are the fast solutions, quick solutions that you have been taking or you could take in order to limit the impact of the energy prices that are rising? That's the first question related to the energy crisis. So what do you think have been the impact at EU and national level? And then if you have been taking actions in order to overcome the crisis? Who wants to take the floor?
Okay. Yeah, that very, very important point, of course. So it has impacted a lot our work. I mean, our work meaning the people that work on energy, of course. Because in a way, when we started 3 years ago, we were like with this worry, this concern of we need to put energy and climate change as a priority for everyone. So it needs to be a priority for the municipality, it needs to be a priority for the stakeholders, citizens. Everyone needs to care about the energy transition because we know it's something that we need to do. It's an emergency. But it's not always easy, of course, because there are lots of other problems that people feel that are more urgent or whatever. So in a way, the energy crisis has switched this a little bit. So now it's a hot topic and everyone understands that we need to switch from fossil fuels. We need to move faster than ever. And it has been seen in European policies, in national policies. I mean, in Spain, and also I think it's been done in Europe and in other countries. There are policies that are being implemented that hasn't been seen before, and things that we thought were impossible, the measures that we thought were impossible to take, and they are not being taken. That's probably because we didn't consider the climate emergency as a real emergency, but now the energy crisis is really putting this in perspective. So we see the changes. And then locally, very fast, I will repeat the energy office. So this service to really give guidance to people, especially vulnerable people, in order to defend the right to energy for everyone. So now more than ever, we need to ensure that everyone has the right to have enough energy to live a decent life. And I think that's going to be, of course, more crucial in the following months. So these kind of services, being close to citizens and really helping them be part of it and understanding, like bringing this energy culture to the citizenship, it's key. And then we have also launched a program to kind of give this similar service to small companies, to SMEs in the city. So to go, I think that the plan is to assess 3,000 local shops, restaurants, bars, things like that, to go to their places and to check their bills, check how they operate, to help them save energy, renovate, change systems, put PV panels, change their bills, contract another company, whatever, in order to help them save in energy so they can cope with the prices.
Energy counseling to citizens and local stakeholders to reduce their energy. One of the participants online was mentioning that they are planning in a city in Romania to reduce the lighting during the Christmas period. So what about Mouscron, Niche, Brașov? Any measures that you've been taking or you're planning to take to reduce energy consumption in the next month?
Yes, I mean, on these days when we are here in Brașov, in city of Niche, we are adopting several measures. One of those is particularly shortening the time of the New Year's, Christmas lighting, but also we are adopting many measures for the administrative public buildings, how to reduce heat and electricity consumption by 15%, and also 33% in public lighting. So it would be probably the mix of lowering some level of light during the night. What is also, we are thinking about how to address residential sector and citizens, and this is something that we only can invite citizens to think and to share with them some good examples how to reduce energy. First, to keep their equipment operative, to clean all the heaters, electric heaters in their boilers, or to clean fridges and cooling devices, and also to shorten period of showering. But those things are really we can invite them. Also, we have 1/3 of the city connected to the district heating, and we were thought about decreasing the level of the heat that is supplied to the buildings. But I would say that would open many other things, because our citizens are used to have a really comfortable temperature. They want to walk around in the short sleeves in the apartments. So if we lower that, I would say that, and it's not on their demand, I would say that they would turn on their air conditioning devices and even maybe additionally heat. So in that case, that would increase electricity bill and also electricity consumption. And we get electricity from coal, and the prices are very high. So I would say that would not be a very good solution. So we can only invite them to ask for the temperature in their buildings to be lower. So that's something different if that is on their own demand.
Camelia, you wanted to also?
Da, cred că pe termen scurt, cel puțin, cred că administrația locală ar trebui să decidă ce măsuri pot fi luate. Trebuie făcută în termen scurt o analiză asupra măsurilor celor mai corecte și posibile de reducere a consumului, pentru că el va trebui redus. De asemenea, fondurile care se vor lansa, se discută foarte mult la nivel național, de suport financiar pentru introducerea accelerată a surselor regenerabile de energie. Aici mi-aș dori să identificăm fondurile și la anul toate clădirile publice, în general, în special școlile, cele din învățământul preuniversitar, să beneficieze de calitatea de prosumator. Calculele noastre spun că în cazul școlilor, pe partea de energie electrică, utilizând legislația care este cu compensare cantitativă 24 de luni, poate să ne ducă la o reducere de 50-60% din consumul de energie electrică, fără să afectăm calitatea în clădiri. Cred că așa ar trebui să mergem mai departe. Desigur, fondurile sunt importante, dar decizia, sau pe termen scurt, trebuie în administrația publică, conducerea administrației să stabilească pe baza datelor puse la dispoziție de consumuri energetice cele mai bune soluții și cele mai corecte, pentru că nu cred că se poate pune problema de reducere consum de energie în creșe, în spitale. Deci atunci trebuie să mergem pe segmentele care au suportabilitate.
I'll just add some points in English as an answer to this question. I think one of the first reactions was a speed up in available funding and in speed up in providing solutions from the national level. So that's very important, and also shifting a bit of the perspectives and putting on this sense of urgency to what the local administration has to do. In concrete actions, that means we've started to work on a project to build a large solar park in the outskirts of Brașov, and now we would have the funding for that. We've done last year. We've done a pilot project to turn a kindergarten into a prosumer, and this showed it worked. So we can go along this path with more projects the next months. And also we have funds for from the renovation wave. There are funds to help on energy efficiency for residential buildings. As Camelia said, it's if we look at figures and numbers, that's one big chapter where we can reduce consumption, and we already applied with a few projects, 19 residential buildings, but we have more than 100. It's 170. Associations, like residential buildings, that are part of this process, and this is a process that we are conducting together. So we are helping the landowners, the building owners, to come up with their documents, and it's further complicated when you have a condominium, because then you have to align everybody to explain them well. So all this communication, the process management, preparing the documentations for the tenders, for the calls, this is what we are doing right now. And the scale is, as I said, around 170 associations. But on the long run, I think the free money, as they are regarded from Europe for the renovation waves, they cover only a margin, a fraction of the actual need. So we need, at the political level, we need to also think of solutions, I don't know, bonds or grants or loans, solutions in conjunction with banks, in order to produce a significant change in this field. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone. Unfortunately, we've been asked by the organizer to finish at 11 o'clock, so I cannot take the other questions. I just want, as a wrap-up, and following on the measures you've been taking to address the crisis, to mention that Energy Cities and as part of the Covenant of Mayors, back in April, when looking at how the crisis was impacting or was to impact local authorities, how European leaders and national leaders were stuck in the same approach and cannot think out of the box. So we have a crisis of energy provision from Russia, so we look for other sources, other providers of the same energy that is leading to climate change. So we launched what we called an energy saving sprint. And the goal was, in a way, of course, to promote measures which are very unpopular, because it's a bit reducing our way of living, which is, we know, unsustainable. We launched that, and we know many cities have been taking measures, reducing public lighting, reducing temperature in buildings during the winter, or reducing the air cooling, promoting car-free days, promoting other ways of moving for people. Now we are planning to extend this sprint into a marathon, because of course the crisis is not over and won't be over in the winter 2022, 2023. That will last for a long time. And what we want to try to bring, not only in local authorities, but also in the mind of EU and national leaders, is the concept of sufficiency. En français, la sobriété. And there can be a happy sufficiency. It's not only talking and lighting candles. There's a way where we can really reduce our consumption. It's not only about energy efficiency. So that's the measures we want to promote as a network and as a EU initiative with the Covenant. We count on cities to join the effort and then also and that's a very important element, to lobby at national level, to get the money, to get the technical support in order to implement. Mayors, local authorities are the best place to implement those actions and to engage the citizens. We heard many examples, and this crisis should be seized as an opportunity to drive the transition faster, and as you rightly pointed, Mr. Mayor, not to go back 2 steps behind and restarting coal-fired stations that are really accelerating climate change, because that will be another crisis. Last point on tomorrow. In tomorrow, on our website, there are a lot of good practices, methodological guidelines, policy recommendations, and we will also be organizing, and we are happy to see you there in Valencia on the 26th and 27th of October, the final conference of our project, because the project is coming to an end, but we want to pursue the efforts of our cities, guide other cities to do the same type of approach. So you're more than welcome to join us in Valencia, 26th, 27th of October, and to contact us on the website, or to connect to our community of practice on LinkedIn for the project tomorrow. Thanks a lot for your attention, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you, Frédéric. Thank you to all for sharing your very good experience for your work. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for what are you doing here. And I hope that there will be another meeting in the next year with more results and with a better tomorrow. Thank you very much. De asemenea, vă mulțumim și vă așteptăm să vă înscrieți la recepție la workshop-ul despre puterea digitalizării în formarea ecocomunităților, un workshop care ne va răspunde la câteva întrebări esențiale privind ce avem de făcut, pașii următori, ca să creștem presiunea comunităților asupra decidenților. Vă mulțumim foarte mult, un sfert de oră pauză, ne revedem la 11:15.